friends, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to show you how to print digitals with no borders and also how to change the color of your digitals. I had talked about how when you print out kits and you can change the warmth or the coolness of it, you can change the size of it, and you know how a lot of us print out kits and there's that white border around the edge? You can print out your kit so that there is no white border. Now, I have a new printer. I was able to do this with my old printer, so I don't think it's necessarily about the printer as much as it is about your computer settings or your print settings. So I thought since some of you might be interested in how you can alter a kit or anything that you print out, and while I'm at it, I'll show you how to alter the size, although I think most of you probably know how to do that. So maybe I'll do that first because that'll be quicker, and then I'll show you how to change the settings on as far as your color. You can actually take a kit that's a color kit and make it black and white. So I didn't know if you knew that, or you can make it sepia as well. So let's get into it so I can show you guys that, and then we can get into making our pockets, and then we will show those off at the end of the video. Alright friends, I have a Mac as you know, so I don't know what this looks like on a PC, but I can't imagine it would be too different. So the first thing I did on Mac is I went down here to this little smiley face and it says Finder. I clicked on that and it pulls up my files. So Christmas in July is the file that I downloaded from Line.Arrow on her Etsy. And let's go ahead and pick a page. Let me see if there's one in here that I didn't print out yet. All right, so I want to, before we get into the how-tos, I want to show you why I'm showing it to you. So, and hopefully this will transfer from here to you guys and you'll be able to see clearly what the deal is. So here is the one page of the kit. It's page 3 of the kit in its original format. So you can see how deep the greens are. You can see it's nice and pink in here. You can see that the red is quite vibrant. These colors are quite vibrant. So I adjusted it to make it a little more dreamy. That's what I was going for, just a little bit lighter, a little more dreamy. So here, I don't want my arms to be in the way, but I do want to show it to you. So here is how I printed it out by adjusting the colors. So you can see if you look at this one, as a matter of fact, let me turn this way, that might be better, I don't know. This is quite green, and this is just a very, it's green, but there's a softness to it. And you'll notice that this pink is, it's got a little more purple in it, and I adjusted it to make it less purpley and more pink. The music paper looks similar, although I would say this is a little softer around here than it is here. So like I said, and her wings are a little bit softer too, not quite as detailed. So I'm going to show you how I did that. What you do, get that out of the way so we can kind of start from scratch. On a Mac, you go to Finder, obviously find a page that you would like to print out. So I'm double clicking on this one, and actually I had messed this one up the first time when I printed it, so this is a good opportunity for me to print it again. And, oh, actually let me move over here because that's probably easier for you guys to see. Okay. So what you do on here is you go to this little thing right here, and it looks like a pen, and it says Show Markup Tool. So just click on that, and when I did that, this bar right here opened up. All right, and that's where you can make some adjustments to things. So if you go over here, there's 3 lines and they have like these little circles in them, and it says Adjust Color. So I opened that up, and right here, this box opened. Now pay attention to the picture. I'm going to move this over just so it's not in the way. Pay attention to this image here. Let's pretend I wanted to make it brighter. I would pull the exposure over, and look at that, it's like completely whited out. And then if I wanted to make it darker, I move the opposite direction, and that's basically, it does it for the overall. It doesn't do a specific area, it just does the overall. So I've got it back in the center now. Now here's the contrast. Now this is something I adjusted on a few of mine. If you click up on contrast, you'll notice some deepening of these colors here. Did you notice how dramatic you can make it? Here it is all the way. But then, so it's basically a contrast between colors. So then if we go the opposite direction, it'll start to whiten out. Do you see that? So that's what you do with that. And so on and so forth. So if I don't want shadows, which it would consider this to be a shadow, anything sort of dark, it would consider that to be a shadow. And I did adjust some of my shadows, and you can see how the dark spots just kind of go away when you adjust it. Now saturation is something else that I played with a little bit. I went ahead, oops, let me move this back to where it was. I went ahead and I lowered my saturation just a little bit. The other thing I did, well, and here we go. Here it is saturated, and here it is not saturated, and it goes into a black and white when you do that. Here for temperature, and this is really, I played with temperature a lot. If I want to make this warmer, I would go this way, and see how nice and warm that is. But what I did is I wanted to make it cooler. I wanted it to look more blue, and so I went that direction. I'm going to put it back in the center just so that you can see. Then we have tinting, so if we're pulling out the pink and everything, we're pulling out the green, so you can play with that. And then sepia, so if you want to get into your stuff being more yellow to brown, then you can play with this particular button here. Then there is the sharpness. Now what I notice about sharpness is if there's any black in your print, it'll pick that up. So let's play with this a little bit and let's increase our sharpness. So did you notice how these lines got like crisper? So I find that to be kind of interesting, and I find it to be useful sometimes. If we move down in the other direction of the sharpness, you'll notice that these lines have they haven't disappeared, but they're very soft. So those are the adjustments that we can make with our pictures. So I'm going to go ahead, and then I'm going to show you another place where you can make some adjustments. But for now, let me get this back to the original. Yeah, I got to put the sepia down because that was not up. The tint should be right in the middle for this to be original. And actually, I think sharpness needs to be in the middle. What else? Okay, so if I'm going to adjust this to match the other ones that I did, I'm going to eliminate just a little bit of the contrast, just a tiny bit. We're talking a fraction. Then I'm going to go ahead and just take the saturation down just a hair, and then I'm going to move the saturation down to make it more blue. That is going to be just about right. I think I might tone down that green just a hair, this green that's going around the corners, just toning that down, and now it's a little bit of a softer green. And let me see what happens if I go a little further. Yeah, that's maybe too much. So let me go back to where I was. All right, so I feel like I'm happy with it right there. Now we're going to go to print, and I'll show you some little tips on that. So me personally, I go to File, I hit Print. And we come over here. All right, so notice how there's a white edge around this page, because when you order things from overseas, a lot of times they use what's called an A4 size, and we use a US letter size. Well, let me just show you a few things. We can do it portrait or landscape, and honestly, it just really does not matter. I don't know if it's easier for you guys to see it in portrait size, so that's what we'll do, because that's, you know, when we're making it into a journal, we do it in the portrait. So we'll do it on here, you know, for that. So one thing you can do is if you wanted it in black and white, you just click your black and white button and look how it changed it. But I don't want it in black and white, so I'm going to undo that button. You can also print two-sided. So if you had the whole kit pulled up here and you had adjusted everything that you wanted to, you can double-side your pages. As long as you've selected at least two of them, it'll print it, and then it'll suck it back in and print on the other side, just so you know. So I'm going to choose page 1 to 1 because that'll be this page. I'm just doing that even though it probably would have printed it like that anyway. And then over here is where it gets interesting. So I am going to print out on US letter size, but I do like to go here and then click on borderless. Now watch this change when I do it. It only changes at a fraction, but it does change it a little. Did you see that? So there's no more white around these edges, but we still have a problem on the top and the bottom. And I don't want to cut all of my pages, right? So go down here to scale. Now mine is set for some reason, whatever reason, at 93%, but I want to fill in the whole page. So let's try it out at 97% and see. We still have a white edge, so let's go to 100%. And okay, so we're almost there. Look at the difference there, you guys. So if we go to 103, that might work. Let's try it. 103 fills it in. So do you lose a little on the edge? You do, but for me, it's totally worth it. It fills in the entire page. No cutting, no adjusting, nothing like that. Now, what would happen if I hit the scale to fit? Let's find out about that. Let's see. If we go scale to fit, fill entire page down here, it basically did the same thing. So you can adjust it yourself, or you can hit fill entire page and boom, look at that. So that's how you can do it, you guys. Let's go ahead and turn my printer on and give this a go and make sure that it prints out the way we want it to. All right, so I've got you facing the printer now. The only adjustments I made were literally on the computer, didn't do anything to the printer, and we're gonna print that out. I am getting low on blue ink. I might get a notification that I need to change it, but we'll see. And there we have it, my friends. Isn't it beautiful? So if you have any questions about that, just let me know. All right, let's get to crafting. Thanks for watching. See you soon.